Yo, what's up guys? Loki here, back at it again with another YouTube video. Oh yeah, we were testing mini boot hill with the Harmony Trailblazer. Actually, interesting team. I might make a video on that, I'm not sure. But if you saw from the last video, I ended up accidentally getting Robin because I'm an idiot. Well, it actually wasn't my fault. This hotel, horrible Wi-Fi. My ping spikes at times, and I clicked on the wrong banner. That's exactly what happened. But as you can see, we do have Topaz on our account. It was not pretty. It was not pretty. I'll show you guys right now. It was not pretty at all. On the bright side, we did end up pulling. Oh, also, if you guys don't know, if you're new to the channel, because we've been getting a decent amount of subscribers, I've been free to play since the Blade banner. I started pulling for like every character just so I could like go like cover the character, and I've had like really good luck, but the Blade banner is kind of the turning point that really like broke me, and I had to like spend just to get the character in the light cone. And I feel like the character really needs his light cone, especially because we don't have a what do you call it, an HP boosting support or anything like that other than like Fushuan. You got Himiko at like 40. You get Himiko at like 40, you have to go, what is this, like 70 or something, 70 something to get Topaz. So I mean, I don't even know what Himiko E2 does. I'm sure it's like extra damage or something, so that'll be cool for pure fiction. But we ended up pulling Topaz. This team that you do see on screen is actually pretty fun, I'm not gonna lie. More damage, cool. Yeah, but this team's actually really fun. I've been running this. Now we'll probably just try to pull Adventurine on the rerun, and we're also going to be trying to pull for Jade. I think I might skip Boot Hill on this account, and maybe pull him on the free-to-play account. But the point of this video, I want to get EO's reaction. Should players pull the 5-star Robin, Topaz, or save for Jade? Real quick, my thoughts on that are, I think Topaz and Robin are future-proof characters, right? As long as follow-up attack characters keep coming out in the game, and they will continue to exist, we can assume Jade's going to be a follow-up. It's going to have some type of follow-up synergy. If you know, you know, but you can kind of assume just because the IPC, they have something to do with follow-up attacks. So Topaz, enemy with the proof of debt over their head, you're boosting that follow-up attack damage. So Topaz is always going to have value, right? Robin's also going to have value, providing crit to follow-up attack damage teams and allowing you to 100% advance forward, allowing you to get off more follow-up attacks. So this team's been super fun. Like, we don't have Adventurine in this account, but Gallagher, he inflicts debuffs as well, allows my ratio to and we don't even have signature light cone on Topaz. We're trying to pull for that now just so we have another debuff, but we don't even really need it with Gallagher. But it will open up other team comps if I do end up getting it. We might actually go for E1. I don't know, I haven't really decided yet, but let's see EO's thoughts on EO's the follow-up attack connoisseur, right? I played a lot of follow-up attack, not on my actual account, but like in the beta, I played a lot of follow-up attacks teams. So let's see what EO has to say. I know EO's a big advocate for follow-up attack synergies, and then I'll just chime in when I have my own opinions. Let's get right into it.
The drip marketing for what's coming after what we have now. We have Robin, we have Sam coming out, or Firefly, whatever. My bad if you just got spoiled. They did it first, not me. And then after that, we have Jade. Oh, and then Boot Hill. Yeah. So right now we have Robin, Boot Hill. Then after that, we're gonna get Sam and then Jade. What I want to talk to you guys about is basically Jade, not so much.
I actually don't know if it's in that order. I know obviously we're getting Boot Hill next, but I'm not sure if they said Spark or Firefly was gonna come out before Jade. I'm not sure on that one, but yeah, let's see.
The characters, but Robin is involved in this. The question right now being asked is whether or not someone should pull Robin over whatever the hell they have on their account. The main question being asked for follow-up attacking teams or players is whether or not they should get Topaz, the predominant follow-up attack enabler, or Robin. Now it's added into Jade, right? Because we know Jade is a quantum character. She's your addition, and it's safe to assume that she is going to follow the IPC trend. All of the
Yeah,
IPC
that's what I
members
said
in the
earlier.
game have something to do with follow-up attacks.
Exactly.
So safe to assume Jade will have something of the sort as well. What she will have, we're not entirely too sure just yet. Once they reveal her kit, we'll know more about that. But this brings a very good question. If Jade is involved with follow-up attacks, will she be a DPS character like Himiko or like Dr. Ratio, or will she be something closer to a DPS slash sub DPS slash enabler like Topaz? And if it's the latter, well, that really changes whether or not you're going to be pulling for Topaz, Robin, or Jade. In today's video, we're going to talk about that. I'm live on stream right now. If you guys want to come through, twitch.tv.
I'm gonna be honest, I did not think about it that way. I do like, I have an idea of what her kit does, but I didn't think about it that way, because if she is a, let's say for instance, she's a main DPS, right? Let's just pretend that she is, right? Then you would want to pull for Robin. If she's like an enabler, you would probably want to pull for Topaz. Because that way, let's say, I don't know, let's say she has her own individual damage, right? Like sub DPS damage. And then she's also like giving a boost to someone in your team, for instance, right? Like a team unit or something. Then you probably want to pull for Topaz and just buff the hell out of your ratio while having their own, because Topaz has like her own individual damage while also providing a 50% buff to everyone else that deals follow-up attack damage on your team. So that's an interesting point that I didn't think about myself.
/IYOKUU. Let's get into it. Okay, so if I were to go through what would be the standard follow-up team, let me take you through this real quick. Yeah, team lineup. Oh, they changed that. Before it was team setup, now it's team lineup. We also have this new thing, right? The lineup overview. I love this. Let me go ahead and go to SSS and I'll change this up a little bit, right? Before we do that, right now you see that we have Tingyun, Clara, Topaz, and Ruan Mei. If I were to make another team, and then let's go with this team here, which would essentially be, now I have the complete IPC emergency team. This IPC emergency team is going to consist of, as soon as I find baby girl, there we go, Robin. We just went through hell to get us a Robin, but now I have the full IPC emergency team. And let me tell you, this team, top 3, yeah, top 3 teams in the game so far. If you haven't seen my top 5 video that I released before 2.0, the patch before 2.0, you can see a lot of the top 5 teams previously. Now that we're going into 2.1, 2.2, and then eventually 2.3, that will change. And as of right now, I'm telling you guys, IPC emergency is definitely a top 3 team.
It's a fun team too. It's so fun. In my personal opinion, it's extremely fun.
User or how many buffer, you can buff the entire team, similar to Ruan Mei, where she buffs the entire team, dual DPS. But Robin also has the benefit of Bronya's advanced forward combat redeployment. Robin is able to advance the entire team forward on top of giving them all the buffs. Then you have Topaz. Topaz is the follow-up enabler. Not only will Numby be able to take advantage of everybody else using follow-up attacks, but Topaz.
And another just like random tangent I want to bring up with Robin, it's not like this super complicated, she doesn't have this, like at the end of the day, HSR is pretty simple. We did see in Yellow V's video a while back, I don't know if I necessarily reacted to it, I know I reacted to it on stream, but he did some interesting things with the Trotter, giving his Jinyuan the dot light cone to ignore defense, making his Jinyuan actually do damage. So there's intricate things like that in honkaistarrail, but it's not that deep. This game isn't that complicated. All you have to know with Robin is to let everyone else go first and then use her ult to pull them back up. It's not rocket science. Most of the time, there may be some situations where you want to actually, there may be like very, very intricate situations, but most of the time you don't want to waste action value. And the way you do that is just by letting everyone else go and then popping her ult so everyone else goes again.
You're also going to be able to work in tandem with everybody else on the team, just keeping it like glue, right? Topaz is kind of the glue of this team here. Ratio is your DPS character. He can work with or without Topaz. He loves Topaz as a partner, especially if you have her E0 S1 or even E1 S1. But I know a lot of people will like to replace Topaz with Silver or Pela and then say that Ratio works perfectly fine. Not perfect, but he does adequate job, right? He does the job well enough. And then of course you have Aventurine. Aventurine is going to be your last piece of the puzzle. Your sustain on the team that way, because a lot of people are not running no sustain, right? You have the last piece of the puzzle. Aventurine does follow-up attacks, the your team does follow-up attacks. He feeds off their follow-up attacks, and then he does his all. It's perfect synergy. The entire team, perfect synergy.
Mhm.
Okay, and there are very few teams in the game that I will say have perfect synergy. But going from this point, now that I've explained a little bit of Topaz, Topaz works with other characters that directly use a follow-up attack. Okay, those characters are characters like Dr. Ratio. You have Himiko, which Himiko isn't necessarily direct, but it happens. You can make it happen frequently enough that it does feel more direct with Topaz. Aventurine.
Yeah, I mean, especially like in the current Pure Fiction, last floor, first side, there's a lot of prevalent fire and ice weakness. I'm actually going to go back and I might make a video on that, but Himiko, Herta, Topaz, Robin, crazy team for that side, or for the first side, the side that doesn't have Sam. Try that out if you have Robin and Topaz. Try that out.
His follow-up attacks, her follow-up attacks, kind of direct, right? And he's a sustain. And then you have Kafka. Kafka has her little gunshot, the talent. That is a follow-up attack. It's very direct. I don't think, oh, then Sui has follow-up attacks. Clara is another good example. Follow-up attacks. Jingyuin technically counts with a follow-up attack for Lightning Lore, but it's not direct. You can't control it. And then, of course, you have, where's Blade, baby boy? Blade also has follow-up attacks. So, boom. I believe those are all the characters that I named that would have a follow-up attack in the game. Oh, and Herta. Herta has a follow-up attack as well. And that should be it. And then March 7th, right? But I'm going to name some of the DPS characters. I think Yang Qing also has a follow-up attack. Whether or not the game registers that, completely different story. So when you're looking at Topaz, she wants...
Another random tangent. I did see the new Pride Win tier list. They redid the entire thing. I did see that last night. I'm going to be covering that with AJ. Maybe Snowy will join us, I'm not sure, but me and AJ are going to be covering that, and the video should be out later today once I make a thumbnail and edit it and everything.
Direct characters with follow-up attacks. That's how she's going to be able to take the most advantage of her. When a player is asking you whether or not they should pull Topaz because she's currently on the rerun banner, or Robin because Robin is being glorified as the next or strongest Harmony character in the game, not from me, but from the rest of the community, that they parrot a lot of things. It is what it is, right? And I know I'm going to get a comment about that. Of course, the Ruan May Simp doesn't think that Robin is the best character in the game. Oh my God. Point being, if you could, ideally, you want both. But Topaz working with direct follow-up attack characters, i.e. Dr. Ratio. We go back to Topaz and we think about the Jade comparison that I mentioned earlier. If you have Dr. Ratio built up, if you have Himiko built up, right? And if you have like Kafka, for whatever reason you're using Kafka with Topaz, which it does work, don't get me wrong, but let's just say you're using Clara, things like that. Someone that directly targets someone else for their follow-up attack, Topaz is your best partner. If you have one of these characters already built up, you go for Topaz, and then you pick up Robin, and you call it a day. You're done. Let's say that you don't like Ratio, you're not using him, you did not pull Kafka, and you didn't get a Clara, right? You didn't lose a 50-50, you didn't get Clara. So now you're out.
And again, me and AJ made a video on this, on our thoughts of the first phase of the banner. So now we're just getting EO's thoughts, so I'm just gonna let him cook.
Options are somewhere along the lines of maybe Jingyuin, along the lines of Blade, along the lines of Herta, and even where's she at? Himiko. What do these three characters have in common with their follow-up attacks that the other characters don't? A really big thing to note about their follow-up attacks is that it's AoE or blast. That means for blast damage, it's going to hit the target in the middle and then the two targets adjacent to that middle target. For AoE, that means everybody on the board gets hit. It doesn't matter if they're all the way in Alaska or all the way down in South Africa. If they're on the field, they're going to get hit. That's what that means. So these three characters, Himiko, Blade, and Jingyuin, all have what will be considered AoE follow-up attacks, right? If in the event Jade is a quantum Topaz, like I mentioned earlier, I don't believe Jade is going to be able to do what Topaz does. Maybe she'll be an enabler. Maybe she'll be a DPS like Ratio. And again, it all just comes down to what her kid is, right?
Right.
If she is a DPS character, everything that I'm saying kind of goes out of the window, and then you're going to pull Robin. But I'll talk about that shortly after this. Right now I'm talking about if Jade is a quantum version of Topaz. If they have similar kits, but it's slightly altered, what could you do to alter that? You could now focus on the other characters that have follow-up attacks that are not direct follow-up attacks to Topaz. Yo, everybody coming through from Hex's Raid, thank you. How y'all doing today? welcome to the party. How did the pools go, Hex? Tell me about it. I'll probably just talk to you in the Discord or whatever. You can talk about how bad your pools were or how good you were. But if they were good, I don't want to talk about it, bro, because my pools were hell. Okay. Back to what I was saying about the AoE follow-up attacking characters, right? If in the event Jade has this altered version of Topaz's direct follow-up attacks, right? She buffs direct follow-up attacks. If Jade buffed the alternate of that, which the only thing in the game that's not direct would be blast or AoE, possibly both. If Jade does that, then it changes my advice or anybody's advice. Anyone that is knowledgeable about the game, that could tell you about the game, it'll change how they approach when you ask them, should you pull for Robin or Topaz? In the event Jade is a quantum version of Topaz that does she handles the other characters, the other follow-up attack characters in the game, Himiko, Blade, Jing Yuan. Now this changes who you prioritize, because right now Robin is here. We have our free 10 pool, and then I believe that's a whole patch, and then we're gonna get Jade at the end based on how they do the drip marketing. The second one is always the last one. So that means Jade is gonna come at the end of the next patch, right? So we're in 2.2 now, if I'm not mistaken, right? Chat, correct me if I'm wrong. 2.2, and then when Jade gets here, that'll be 2.3, right? So we would have gotten, without any stipulations, 20 free pulls. 10 from this one, 10 from the next patch, because we always get 10 free pulls per patch. It has not failed us yet. So if we get 20 free pulls,
and we love that,
and then we get everything else in the game, you get your MOC, which we know we're getting a new one. We have
apocalyptic shadow.
Right now a new rotation's coming in for that one as well. All these ways to get free J's, the new story update. Theoretically, you would be able to save enough from Robin's banner throughout 2.3 to get her at the beginning of her banner or the end.
I actually don't remember if Apocalyptic Shadows 2.3 or not. It actually may be 2.3 and not 2.2. I think it is 2.3. Yeah.
Her banner, if it comes to Jade. The reason I'm bringing this up is because Robin would be the more beneficial pickup for you to grab instead of Topaz, because you would essentially be using still a Topaz, but it's not Topaz, it's Jade, right? So you would be using a quantum version of this that buffs the other units that you might already have prioritized in your game. Imagine if Topaz was an AoE Topaz, right? An AoE version of Topaz. Himiko would love that, because now everyone takes that extra crit damage, extra follow-up attack damage, things like that. Same thing with Blade. I know we don't sleep on Blade, but we kind of like devalue Blade right now just because he's not doing the damage. But in the event that if Jade had a buffer.
Another thing I want to mention that I can guarantee you Ia won't mention it. Remember the video AJ made that I reacted to about the top elements in honkaistarrail? All of the new enemies except one of them all have fire weakness. Story mode boss also has a fire weakness as well. So there's a lot of prevalent fire weaknesses in this game. It's interesting because if you were to ask me before I looked at the actual Google Doc how many enemies in this game have fire weakness, I would have been like, oh, not that many. It's probably like the third highest or something. I would have thought it was like lightning. Apparently it's fire, which is wild to me.
Or not Jade. If Blade had a buffer the way that Topaz gives Ratio a buffer, because let's keep it
I also said this as well, an HP
like,
scaling
I could
buffer.
just replace Ratio or Topaz with Pela and I'll be perfectly fine. It's not really the same, right? Defense reduction is awesome on Pela because of Pela's kit. That's just Pela. I'm not gonna knock defense reduction at all, but Ratio being single target, Topaz works wonders, especially when you get into the whole like E1S1, E0S1 combination, things like that. If we take the same concept and apply it to Blade, but you had his own version of Topaz, right? Instead of Blade being the sub DPS, Blade would be the main DPS. So you have a team like Jing Liu and Blade, right? In that team, Blade is the sub DPS because his damage output is just not high enough, and Jing Liu's damage output is insane. But if Blade were the main DPS, and then he had his own sub DPS that enhanced his damage while helping him do or make up the damage that he can't do on his own with a buffer like Robin, now you can have a complete team. Same thing with Jing Yuan. The difference is Jing Yuan, I'm not hating Jing Yuan, love the character. Jing Yuan's problem isn't so much that he's not doing damage, it's just the kit. Lightning Lord is not a controlled follow-up attacking mechanic. Unlike Blade, where I can control if I get hit, if I'm, consuming my own HP, whatever, I can influence that. I cannot influence Lightning Lord any other way besides the natural order of Lightning Lord going up in the ladder. That is the unfortunate problem with Lightning Lord. So even if there were a Quantum Topaz, doesn't help Jing Yuan in the same fashion.
I actually didn't know Jing Yuan got nerfed in the beta. I was never in the early beta, so I had no idea.
For a Blade or a Himiko or whatever, but it's not putting him out of the water, right? Like it could help him. It depends.
Oh, you can't see that because my model.
These are options.
You can't see the chat. Here you go.
Pull Robin, save, get Jade. Now let's say that Jade is a DPS character like Ratio. Remember I mentioned earlier that changes things, right? There's two coins to this, or two sides to this. If it's a DPS character like Ratio, you're fucked. That's the easiest short answer I could put about it, right? Because if that were the case, if Jade was another DPS character that would replace Ratio, who is a free character, well, not anymore, was a free character. So unfortunately, if you started, by the time you're watching this video and you just started the game, you have missed out on a free, one of the strongest.
That's true. I think he's going to get a rerun soon, though.
He's free. You missed out. Unfortunate.
And when he does get that rerun, I think actually might pull his signature light cone. But yeah.
But if Jade is another DPS character and you've already been building up like your account, you would essentially have to get Topaz now, Robin now, had to have gotten Aventurine in the past, right? Because his banner just went away, and then save up enough or get lucky to get Jade, not including anybody's light cones, because that significantly changes what you can and can't do. The situation that you would get put in,
it does,
if Jade is another DPS character like Ratio or like Himiko, like Blade, Claire, or whatever, drastically changes. And now you need to decide whether or not you want Robin or Topaz to enhance whatever the hell Jade is going to do. Now, personally, I'm still going to tell you to get Topaz, but and that's not me devaluing Robin. It's just that I believe Topaz is a stronger piece of the follow-up attacking puzzle than Robin is. Why do
Interesting
I say that?
take.
Because I could replace Robin on the team with Ruan Mei. I could replace Robin on the team with an Asta. And while Asta is nowhere near as strong as Robin, I'm not saying that whatsoever. What I am saying is, to get you from point A to point B, you have other options for your Harmony units. For follow-up attack.
That is actually an interesting take that I've never heard before. I'm not gonna say I necessarily like agree or disagree with that take, but I'm definitely taking the fence sitting approach on this one. But I do like that take. And I think it makes a lot of sense, right? Let's say you're fighting Dominicus, you probably want Robin or Ron May just so you can build up shields, you know. But Robin, her value is very, very, very good. Her value is insane, and then the 100% advance forward is nothing to scoff at. But I do understand what he means when he says you can slot in other units. She's not as much of a priority, right? You can grab a Ting Yun, and your ratio is going to hit like a truck, and he's going to get a lot more alts off, right? And also Topaz, I'm not saying she's doing Acheron damage, but she has her own, or like even like Jing Liu damage, but she does have her own individual damage if you're building her correctly, you know, and that does go up a decent amount if you do have E0 S1 or E1 S1.
Characters to get you from point A to point B on the team. I don't know why my throat cracked right there. To get you from point A to point B on the team, you do not have other alternative options. There are not 4-star follow-up attacking enabling options. There are not follow-up buffers for 4-star units. There's not another standard 5-star that buffs follow-up units. You don't have that option, but you do have options for Harmony units, or even a Pela that reduces everyone's defense. You have that option instead of Harmony. There's a lot of things that you could do to make the team work and still get the damage that you're trying to get for your 3 cycles or lower. So that is why I would say that. So it ultimately comes down to like how.
That also kind of goes back to what I was saying with Topaz having her own individual damage. Let's say you did go that route and you did run like a Pela. Topaz is going to benefit from that Pela as well as like Ratio. I mean, she's also going to benefit from Robin, but let's say you couldn't get Robin, you know, you do have other options. And again, another point that I do want to make is we have never seen a character in honkaistarrail have 2 reruns yet, right? So it's going to be a long time. We can assume it's going to be a very long time before Topaz makes a return, whereas Robin is more likely to make a return before Topaz.
What happens in your account, in your game, right? But at the end of the day, this is like me theory crafting, speculations, yeah? It totally comes down to what Jade is gonna do. If she's a quantum Topaz, I just told you, you know what to do. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. I know a lot of people are like, you guys are jumping on the follow-up attack train now, which is totally fine. I'm a huge fan of the follow-up attack stuff. You guys know that. I love using them. They're awesome, especially with Robin on the account now. Like, you have the full IPC emergency team. Too clean not to use. But I know a lot of people don't like that, and they just kind of want, like, you guys just want Robin because she's Robin, I guess. Robin doesn't replace. That's a whole different video that I'll talk about next week, more than likely, or over the weekend. But it is what it is. Do I think Jade will work with Robin? I just answered that. The whole video, I just answered that question for you, bro. But short answer, yes, Jade will work with Robin. Hypothetically, if, I guess it wouldn't really matter, right? If Jade were a quantum Topaz, she would work with Robin. If Jade were a DPS character like Ratio, she would still work with Robin, which that's what the answer to the video was, right? Like, I was explaining and elaborating why one or the other leads into the answering that question on whether or not somebody should pull Topaz or Robin right now. If you're asking yourself that question, I guess to end this video off, if you're asking yourself whether or not you should pull Robin or Topaz, I would say wait a little bit, maybe like, because you have the banner here for like 21 days, 20 days. I'd say wait like 10, 15 days, somewhere around there. Look for more information on what Jade will possibly do, and then make that decision. If you happen to have Blade on your account and you really want to make Blade work, and let's say that Jade was the quantum Topaz and she buffed.
I gotta move again, bro. You see this? Hold on, where was it? Think about rerun timing too. Also, if you guys don't know EO in the community, his link will be down in the description. Follow his channel, subscribe to his channel. Great content, great insight. Definitely gives you a different perspective. Yeah, I'm gonna let him finish.
Like AoE, then you switch your plan, pull Robin, save up, and then get quantum Jade. I mean, you get Jade. But on the other end, if Jade is a DPS like Ratio, as Clippy says, Topaz's rerun is right now. You're not going to see Topaz at least for another 6 to 8 months. It is what it is. So if you don't get her now and you need her, you're cooked. But it is what it is. I can't say my usual outro because I feel like I just messed that up. I can't say my usual outro because it's inappropriate for YouTube. Like the video, comment, subscribe. Know you later. There we go. That's what I meant to say.
Great video from EO, as always. If you guys enjoyed this video, let me know your thoughts down below and how your pulls have gone, who you pulled for. The Pridman video coming up next. Like, comment, subscribe. We hit 400 subscribers. Thank you all so much. I appreciate you. Road to 500 begins now. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.